Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hey, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. So for today's video, I'm giving you a in-depth how to do a cut crease. I actually get questions about this a lot, and I know that a cut crease can be super hard. It is definitely one of the harder techniques to pick up on, so I thought for today's video I would just sit here and go through the steps on how I do a cut crease, give you guys some tips, and just teach you how I do my cut creases. There are a bunch of different techniques you can use. These are just my go-to techniques, and they are what I think works best for me. So without any further ado, if you want to see how to do a cut crease and you want to pick up some tips and tricks along the way, then make sure you just keep on watching and we'll go ahead and get started. So first things first is to prime your eyes. I've already done that. I just put some concealer on and a little bit of powder and you're good to go. So we can just jump into the look. No matter what kind of look you're doing, you always want to jump into a transition shade first. This is just going to help all of the shades that you're going to be using later on blend together, and it's just going to get you that seamless blend that you're looking for when you're doing a cut crease. So for today's video, I'm using the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. This is such a pretty palette. You've got lots of neutral shades, a couple pops of color. This is honestly one of the best palettes. To start off, I'm just going to jump in using the shade Transition. This is just a neutral tone brown shade, and this is just going to be our base for all of the other colors we're going to go in with later. So when I do a cut crease, I always start with the lightest color and then I build up to the darkest color that I want. That's just my technique, and that's how I find that it works better for me. You can start with the darkest color and then just blend off of that. I like to start with the lightest color and just build off of it and blend and build and just keep blending and building. So that's what we're doing. I'm starting off with Transition, and I'm using a Morphe M441. This is just a big fluffy blender brush, and it's just going to apply the color to the entire eye space. So I like to just start here on my outer corner and softly blend in circles, and then I'll start taking it into the inner corner. So I start with this a little bit higher up in my crease, because with a cut crease we're going to cut right here where our eyelid meets like this little crease area. So I want to start a little bit higher up. That way you'll be able to see all of the different colors and the blend when we do cut the lid. So I'm just going to start right here and blend inwards. And then when I get back to this outer edge, when I have barely any product on my brush, I'm just going to start flicking it outwards towards the tail of my brow. This is just going to give us that shape that we want when we're doing a cut crease. You don't need a lot of this color, just a light wash. This is just going to help all of our colors blend better later on. Okay, so once you have that light wash on, you can barely even tell it's there, but it is going to help. So for the next shade, I'm going in with Hashtag. This is definitely like an orange shade, and this is just going to go right underneath where we put that transition shade, and I'm going to use a slightly smaller blending brush. So the darker you go with the colors, I recommend using a smaller brush. You can get more detailed, it's not going to go crazy, and it's not going to go all over your eye. So I'm going to use a smaller little blending brush. This is the Luxie 249. And I'm just going to dip into Hashtag. And again, I'm just going to start right here on my outer corner, blending that in little tiny circular motions, and then buffing it into the crease. Just using tiny circular motions, and then when I get to the crease, I'm using windshield wiper motions, just going back and forth, blending that color out. You want to make sure there's a seamless blend. You don't want to see a harsh line between the transition shade and this color. Just keep building the color up, going in with a little bit and then blending away. If you get the color on your eyelid, it's not that big of a deal because we are going to go in with a concealer later on and clean that up, and that's what's going to cut the crease. So it's not a big deal if you get it on your eyelid because you are just going to be kind of erasing it later on. This honestly, it just takes a lot of patience, a lot of blending, and a lot of going back and forth between different colors. If you want those seamless blend that you get when you do a cut crease, you have to just take your time and be patient. That's probably the most important step I can like express to you guys when doing a cut crease, is to just take your time, because it's gonna take a while, but in the end, it's gonna look really good, and that's what you want. You want a really beautiful blended eye, and that's what you're gonna get if you take the time and be patient with it. So moving right along, now that I have that blended pretty well, I'm gonna go in with Wine and Dine, which is this dark purpley maroon shade. And since this is the darkest color we've used so far, I'm gonna go in with an even smaller brush, and this is the Morphe M506. It's just a small blender brush. It's really tiny, and it's really good for detail work, which is what we're gonna be doing with this, because I'm going directly in this little crease socket right here, and I'm gonna need to take my time and blend. So little detailer brushes like this are necessary when doing a cut crease. I'm just gonna start right here on this outer corner again with my little small circular motions, and I'm applying barely any pressure, going in with the lightest hand and blending it out. If you apply too much pressure, it's going to be really hard to blend, and you're not going to get that seamless look that you're going for. Just keep building that color up. You don't want to go in with a lot at first. I say this in probably every video. Just go in with a little bit first and then keep building up. It's always easy to add color, but you cannot take it away without having to redo your entire eye look. So I'm just slightly blending and then bringing it in to the crease. While blending that out, we lost a lot of that orange shade, so I'm just going to go back in with Hashtag, and I'm just going to continue to blend out that Wine and Dine, but I'm adding a little bit more of this orange shade just so we get the full effect of the blend. You don't need a lot. I just want to make sure that this color is incorporated and is showing up. And this helps the darker shade blend in better, because I'm just blending the two together, just kind of meshing the colors. Just keep going back and forth between those colors, and you're going to get that beautiful gradient blend, and they're going to be pigmented, and it's just going to look really beautiful. So once you have that nice and blended out, I am looking a little crazy, but it is going to come together in the end. I am going to go in with a little bit of a darker shade just to deepen it up a tiny bit. So for that, I'm going to go in with the deepest shade in the palette. I'm going in with Teddy Bear, which is like a chocolatey brown, and I'm just going to add the tiniest amount on a Luxie 141 mini round brush. It's just a little tiny brush, and it's good again for detailing, and I'm just gonna slightly blend this in to that purple shade. Adding this deepest color is gonna help add some smokiness, it's gonna help add dimension, and it's really gonna bring the cut crease together. Again, I'm just going in little tiny motions, like pretty much no pressure. I'm then gonna take my little Morphe M506 again, and a little bit of that Wine and Dine, and I'm going to blend that dark color out. This way, I don't add too much of that teddy bear color, and I'm just blending it in, just deepening it up a little bit, but I'm not adding too much of a harsh brown color to this look. Okay, so now comes the most difficult part. So I usually use a concealer and just clean up my lid, but today I am going to try a new product, but it's virtually the same thing. I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution Cut Crease Canvas, and this is a full coverage eyeshadow base, and this is in white. I like to use white concealers or white eyeshadow bases just because it makes the color that you put on your lid pop, especially if you're going in with like a white shade on your lid, or if you're going in with like a beige shade, it just makes it pop. So we're gonna cut the crease, and this is the most important step, I would say, in this routine. And this is what takes the most time, and this is what is the hardest, just because you definitely have to take your time and you have to be patient. So the type of brush you need to use is important. So I'm going in with a Morphe, I have no idea what it is because I rubbed the name off of it. That's how often I use this brush. But it is just a flat little synthetic brush. And this is just going to make it easy to get right here in your crease and carve it out. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this on the back of my hand on my brush. I'm going to start at the inner corner. So what I like to do is press it right here where my crease and my eyelid meet. And I like to start right there, because that just kind of shows me where I'm going to need to follow and what I need to do. So then what I like to do is just drag it across my lid, because I know that I'm going to be carving out this whole area. So I like to just go ahead and get this down. The most important thing to remember when doing this is to take your time. Go slow, do not rush it, because if you rush it, you're going to mess up and you're not going to get the shape that you want, and you're not going to have the line as clean as you want, and you're going to have to start over. So as you can see, I'm just slowly packing that color on. I'm taking my time and I'm just building it up to the crease. I'm not swiping, I'm patting, because that's going to make it easier to control, and you're going to get it the shape that you want. Okay, so once the lid is pretty much all together, I'll then just start right here at the inner corner again and slowly pat my way up, just following my natural crease shape, and I'm taking my time. So the crease, the lid area is carved out. That's all nice, it's clean, you can see the lines, you can see how the blending went, and now it's time to do the shape. So what I'll do is I'll start right here about, I guess, 3/4 of the way, and I'll start patting out the shape. Taking my time and just kind of patting out where I want the shape to go. This is why I always do my eyes first, because I'm messy and makes it easier. Just keep patting this out and being really careful, especially around the edges, so that you don't mess up. So that's pretty much the shape that I want. It could be a little bit cleaner, but we can definitely fix that here in a minute. And I'm just gonna let this dry down just a little bit before we go in with the lid shade. Now you can pretty much go in with whatever lid shade you want. You can go in with a white, you can go in with like a creamy color, you can go in with a beige color. Pretty much anything will work. I am going to go in with a shimmer. So I'm going in with So Jelly in the Holy Grail palette, which is just this pink duochrome. I'm just using my finger to pat this on my lid. This is like a peachy pink duochrome. I'm just placing this on my lid. I am going to have to go in with a brush to get to those edges. And again, you want to be pretty careful when you're doing this so that you don't go out of that sharp line that you just cut. If you have smaller lids and you don't have as much lid space as I do, you're definitely going to want to go in with a smaller brush when doing this. But my eyelids are pretty big. But you just want to take your time and pack that color on. So since I was really messy with that, a tip that I like to do is go in with a makeup wipe, and I'll just clean up this little area right here. Just kind of take a makeup wipe and wipe away any excess product. And you can definitely stop here. You can see that cut crease, you can see the blend, and then we have the lid shade. But a tip that I've picked up along the way, if you're doing a cut crease and you don't really like the line, you don't think it's sharp enough, or you think you messed up a little bit, is to go in with a little bit of glitter liner right there on this line that you cut, and it covers everything and it just looks pretty, and it kind of just makes it look a little bit more dramatic and glam. So that's what we're going to do today, just so that I can show you how you can fix a mistake if you think that you've messed up. So for my glitter liner, I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the shade Midnight Cowboy. And this, again, is going to take a little time and it's a little tedious, and you definitely have to be careful. but it does bring the look together. So I'll just start right here on this inner corner, and I'll do little strokes, just following that cut crease line. So you're going to want to let that dry before you look up, or you're going to make a big mess. But that is pretty much the glitter liner. So once that eyeliner dries, you can see it just kind of helps with the illusion where it is cut, and it just looks really pretty. I like to do my glitter liner a little bit thicker just because I think it stands out more and it's more noticeable, but that is a personal preference. You can definitely do a thinner line. I just think that this looks good, especially on my eye shape and how big my eyes are in general. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the other eye off camera and do the rest of my face, and then we can come back and we'll do the lower lash line. Okay, so all of my makeup is done except for the lower lash line, and when I do a cut crease, I like to just follow the steps that I do in my crease on my lower lash line, except in reverse. So I always start with the darkest color I used, and then I blend it down to the lightest color. So to start, on a little tiny definer brush just like this is a Morphe M432. I'm going to take that teddy bear color, which is that deep dark brown, and I'm just gonna push this onto my lower lash line. I'm keeping this really nice and tight to where my lash line starts because I don't want this to go too far down, and I'm not bringing it all the way in to my inner corner. To blend that out, I'm just using the Morphe M506, and I'm taking that color Wine and Dine, and I'm just gonna blend that dark color out really softly, and I'm just taking my time. Again, I'm not taking it all the way to the inner corner because I want to keep that part nice and bright and open, and since these are darker colors, I don't want to bring them all the way in because it'll close my eye up. Now I'm just going to take hashtag on a Morphe M433 and blend out that color. This is going right underneath that Wine and Dine shade. And last but not least, I'm just going to add a little bit of mascara to my lower lash line so that it pops. And that is it for this video. This is the finished look. I think that the look turned out really good. I'm actually super happy with it. I hope that you guys were able to pick up on some techniques that I like to use when I'm cutting my crease. Honestly, the biggest, most important thing for you guys to remember is to take your time. I know it's tedious and I know you have to be patient, but the end result honestly is worth it. I think that this is beautiful, and taking your time and going slow and just being patient with it gives you the best outcome. If you take anything away from this video, it should be take your time and be patient. Practice makes perfect, but I hope that you guys liked these techniques, and I hope that you incorporate some of them into your next cut crease. If there's anything that you think that I might have left out, or if there are tips that you want to give me, then go ahead and comment them down below. I love to hear from you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you liked my tips and if you liked my tricks and you like how the makeup look turned out. It would be greatly appreciated. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're down there if you haven't already, and the little notification bell right beside it so you can be notified every time I upload content. It is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you really just don't want to miss out on that. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!